Welcome to today's topic. I am literally so fired up and so excited to talk about this topic. So I hope you will join me if you're listening to the replay or watching the replay. I'm really glad that you're here and I hope you get a lot out of it. So we're going to talk about alcohol today. And I've been getting a lot of questions about alcohol. I have a lot of thoughts about alcohol, and there's just a lot I want to say today. So this live may rub you the wrong way. It may teach you something new. It may transform your thinking, but I hope that it is a transformational conversation for you. So we're going to be talking about 3 super common myths around alcohol use and fat loss. But before we dive into that, I just want to talk a little bit about my experience both personally with my body and alcohol and also with clients. So I've been a nutrition coach for 4.5 years. I was also a nurse for 6 years before that. So I've been in the health field for a decade. And I have seen both how alcohol affects people's bodies in acute settings. So I've seen the effects of chronic alcoholism on people's bodies in the ER. I've also seen the effects of acute alcohol toxicity on people's bodies. I've also seen the negative effects of alcohol use, like how it affects other people, right? Like you get in a car accident or something. And yes, hello to everyone who's listening. So I just want to share that as my perspective. So you understand that I've seen a lot of the negative consequences of alcohol as a nurse. Personally, I want to share with you guys that I used to be a huge drinker. I think sometimes on my Instagram, people perceive me as being super anti-alcohol because I do post a lot of messages around alcohol that might challenge you, that might rub you the wrong way, that might actually make you question, how you are drinking or your alcohol habit. And that's only because I've gone through it myself. So I want you to always understand, whenever I'm coaching people or sharing my perspective, it's because I have walked the exact same path that you have been in. I'm not somebody who just naturally is I just don't gain any weight. I can eat whatever I want and I just don't gain any weight. That is not me, okay? I look at a cookie and I gain 5 pounds practically, okay? So I share that because I think sometimes people can experience a sense of judgment, and that is never my intention when I talk about alcohol or start to call it out. It's really about shifting the way that you think. So who else has indulged in the alcohol content, okay? If you've been to college in America, you've probably done some drinking, right? If you have lived in a big city, if you have a career, you have probably done alcohol drinking. And when I lived in Los Angeles, I drank a fair amount for social events. I worked in the entertainment industry before I was a nurse. I've had 5 careers, but before I was a nurse, I worked in the entertainment industry. It was very common to go for drinks after work or to socialize. Then I worked in the catering industry for a little bit. And so there was a lot of opportunities to drink. But when I moved to New York for nursing school, my drinking just took off. I was drinking so much because you don't have to drive in New York. I was just talking to a friend about this. Why do people drink so much in New York? And we're we think it's because no one has to drive. Right? Does that make sense to y'all? Because if you live somewhere where you have to drive, you don't drink as much. So I drink a lot in New York City. There was actually a place called Whiskey Tavern in Chinatown that was 2 blocks from where I lived that I would go to after nursing shifts when I was in school. And we would just get hammered, intoxicated. Okay, they would give us free shots and we'd stay out till 2 a.m. The bars close at 4 in New York. So I partied hard. I drank a lot. I also felt the effects on my body that year. That's when I gained the most weight I'd ever gained, and I started to not feel good in my skin. That's really kind of what started me on my fitness and health journey. And so when I moved to Austin, I also drank quite a bit here because it's a very party city. And I came to a turning point where I realized that not only could I not achieve the body goals that I had for myself with my alcohol use where it was at, but I also couldn't have the mental, emotional health that I wanted with alcohol. Now, that's not everyone's experience. Some people feel great mentally and emotionally with alcohol in their lives. I personally don't. So that's part of where I'm coming from in my perspective. But I specifically want to talk about 3 super common myths around alcohol use and fat loss. Myths that you may have heard in other health spaces, you may have been taught, you may have heard from your friends, you may have picked up from marketing, from alcohol. Big alcohol companies have a lot of money to make, and so their marketing is super tricky. So let's dive into these 3 myths and really empower you. So the first myth is just drink low sugar drinks. Who has heard this myth? Okay. Oh, just drink a low sugar drink. Just like, wait, this is low sugar wine, right? Or like, oh, I think this drink has low sugar, so it's better for me. So let's talk about what this means. The truth is alcohol is alcohol is alcohol. So an alcohol calorie is an alcohol calorie is an alcohol calorie. When you're looking at an alcoholic beverage and you're looking at a nutrition label on that beverage, you're going to see like alcohol gram, you're going to see the calories and you're going to see carbs. But what's missing on there is the alcohol grams in that beverage. They're actually giving the calories to that beverage. So it doesn't matter if it's beer or wine or vodka, they all have alcohol grams in them. And the sugar content, like within the alcohol per se, is irrelevant. Like that doesn't even come into play. The majority of the calories in your drink are coming straight from alcohol grams, not from sugar, from alcohol grams. Okay. Now, if you have a margarita, if you have a mojito with simple syrup, if you have a Coke and rum, your mixer has sugar. The mixer is actually what's contributing the sugar. But it's not that this lower sugar hard seltzer is a better option for me than a 100-calorie glass of wine. It doesn't matter. The calories are the same. So a 100-calorie glass of wine is the same as a 100-calorie hard seltzer, even though the marketing on the hard seltzer, it's like 2 grams of sugar, 2 grams of carbs. It doesn't matter. They're both 100 calories, and those calories are primarily coming from the alcohol grams. So if you add a mixer on top, like sweet and sour, tonic water, simple syrup, a soda, yes, now you have additional sugar grams. But the alcohol isn't low, there's not low sugar alcohol drinks. Does that make sense to y'all? Okay. So that's myth number 1. Myth number 2 is I can cancel out my alcohol use by eating less or exercising more. All right? Who has heard this myth? Very common. So one of the things you have to get is alcohol calories are not actually equal to food calories. They are not interchangeable. So you can't drink, like you can't work out hard in the gym, crush leg day, and then drink like 2 things of beer and have it turn into muscle. It does not work that way. Alcohol does not a muscle make, all right? Actually, alcohol causes muscle wasting, which I saw very acutely when I was in the emergency room. A lot of chronic alcoholics have like severe muscle wasting. So we need to understand that actually you cannot cancel out your alcohol use by eating less. Myth number 3, okay, this is a big one, is I need to be completely dry in order to get results. Now, you may have been following me for a while and you've seen my posts about alcohol and like how important it is to be like 0 to like very little alcohol to get results. And you may have been like, oh, I can't work with her because I want to have my wine. And I totally get that. So I'm going to give you a structure or a frame in which to understand that. I'm going to use an example from my current clients right now. Okay. So like I have a client who has had 0 alcohol for 7 weeks. That's just her choice. And she's also done the other things that she needs to do. And she's lost 16 pounds in 7 weeks. All right. And she still has Cheetos. All right. So she's like putting in the work. I have another client who's had no alcohol and she's lost like 8 pounds in 8 weeks, which is also incredible. Okay. I have other clients who've had more alcohol, and there's nothing wrong or right about that, but their results are slower. So like they might be weight stable, or they might have just lost like 1 or 2 pounds because their alcohol use is more like 4 to 6 drinks a week. So if you are concerned about fat loss and you want to do it as quickly as possible, right? Like if you're like, Heather, get me the fastest results possible, then the answer is no alcohol. If you're like, okay, well, I want to get there a little bit slower, but like I still want to have some, but I'm willing to like really reduce, then the answer would be 1 to 2 drinks max per week. If you're like, Heather, what's most important to me is the sustainability of this plan, and I'm okay if I only lose like 1 or 2 pounds of fat in 3 months, or I'm actually even okay being weight stable. I just want to like master my nutrition, understand it, but like have as much wine as I want. Then like you can have 4 to 6 drinks a week. All right. So it's really about getting clear on what is your goal and aligning your choices with your goal. This is a big mindset issue I see for people. They say they want something, and then the coach tells them what to do, and then they don't do it. They're like, no, actually, I do not want that thing. And then they're like, why don't I have the result? Because you're not doing the thing that you need to do to get the results. All right. So it's really important that you make sure that you are mentally prepared to actually do the hard things that you need to do to get the result that you say you want. Does this make sense? It's actually about discovering your unique alcohol frequency. So how often can you drink alcohol and get the results you want at the speed that you want to get them? It's learning how to account for alcohol correctly and precisely in your intake. So most people do not understand how to account for alcohol correctly within their total intake for the day. And it does matter. It adds up. There's a place for it, and it adds up, and it matters. So, again, it's not bad or wrong to drink alcohol, but if you say you have a fat loss goal and you have a time frame in which you want to reach it, you have to confront the fact that alcohol at a high frequency is not going to help you reach that goal. And there's not something else you can do to cancel it out. You can't intermittent fast to cancel it out. You can't take supplements to cancel it out. You can't just eat less food to cancel it out. That's not how it works. Because remember, alcohol is actually not nutrition. Alcohol is a toxin to your body. And I'm not saying this in a moralist way. I'm not saying like you're bad or wrong or evil for ingesting a toxic chemical. I just want you to get that it is a toxin to your body. Just like Tylenol, acetaminophen is a toxin as well that has to be detoxified in the liver. Alcohol is a toxin that has to be detoxified in the liver. And when your body is busy detoxifying alcohol, which it will do first, because if it doesn't, it can kill you. All right, it must detoxify the alcohol first. It stops doing many of the other functions in the liver that have to do with proper blood sugar balance, that have to do with glycogen formation, that have to do with fat burning, that have to do with estrogen. So then you start to disturb your hormonal balance. And you're like, I think my hormones are off. Like, should I take a supplement? No, you should stop drinking, okay? You should stop drinking 5 days a week. Now, it's very common to believe these things because alcohol is celebrated in our culture, and it's a $1.49 billion industry in the US alone. $1.49 billion in the US alone. Big Alcohol wants you to drink, but they know that you are becoming a more sophisticated customer. They know that you are becoming more savvy. They know that you are becoming more aware of sugar and knowledge that sugar, like in a huge amount, is not good for your health, for your metabolic health. It's not good for your weight maintenance, your fat loss, etc. So they market their hard seltzer as 2 grams sugar, and you bought into it, right? Because you lack nutrition knowledge, because it's not taught. It's not taught in the schools. It's actually very poorly taught even in official programs, all right? Even registered dietitians are not taught how to program macronutrient intake for people. They're not taught how to program alcohol correctly and account for it. They're not taught these things. They're taught many amazing things, but even official, formal master's degree nutrition programs fall short of the information that we need to know. And this is why I do what I do, because I'm so passionate to free you and liberate you from the complacency of just tolerating being fed and marketed to by big alcohol and all these big companies that are like, don't have your best interests at heart. They want to sell you their products. Okay. So when they market something as low sugar, they got you hook, line, and sinker. Okay, girl? Like, they know that you want to have no sugar. Now, what you need is this. What you need is AA. Now, hold on. I'm not saying Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? You need a different kind of AA. All right? Just because you drink, also, I am not saying you're an alcoholic. So let's just be clear about that. Now, if you drink more than 1 drink a day as a woman, you are exceeding the recommendations for women's health. All right, so if you drink more than 1 drink per day, you are exceeding for health the recommendations. For body composition, you are definitely exceeding that. Remember, there's health recommendations, and then there's actually what gets body composition results, what actually gets fat loss results. So you need something called alcohol accounting. This is the new AA that you need. You need a process and a system for understanding alcohol correctly. So first of all, just understanding it. When you learn this, you will no longer be confused about your body composition results. I have clients who are like, oh my God, like now I understand like why I have the results I have, right? Like, oh, I didn't understand that alcohol actually contributes this to my intake. You will also feel very empowered and knowledgeable. When I finally understood how to account for alcohol and I understood where it fit into my plan, I was like, oh, this is why I'm stuck. This is why I can't lose fat. This is why I'm working out and gaining weight. It all started to click and I was no longer confused. You will feel confidence. Your confidence will increase because you will feel competent around alcohol. You will no longer feel clueless. You will feel competent. Look, you're a successful woman. You already are very good in your career. You're an expert at what you do. You're successful financially. So it can be cognitively dissonant for you to be like, I don't understand alcohol. Like, I don't understand how to account for it, measure it. I don't understand what's in it. I don't understand what it means. So you can experience this like weird sense of like a lack of confidence, which is inconsistent with who you know yourself to be in other areas of your life. So when you develop competence, you will feel more confident, okay? And you will start to see vast, quick improvements in your body composition. This is one of the most important and fastest ways to change your body composition, which is why if somebody comes to me and they have a fat loss goal, and then they're like, I am unwilling to reduce my alcohol, I will tell them one of 2 things. 1, if you want to work with me and you want to drink more than 1 to 2 drinks, just be prepared that your results could be very slow or you could not achieve them. You can still work with me to gain the knowledge, but if your goal is results, just be aware of that. I cannot guarantee you some type of result if you continue to drink 4 to 6, 7 drinks a week, or even more than really 3. All right. So, and then the second thing is I might say, okay, it's not the right time for us to work together because I don't want you to try to work on your goals and do the wrong strategy and then be like, why am I failing still? Okay. Because you have not actually made the changes that you need to make in order to see results. Okay. So just remember, this is not a moral conversation. This is a consequential conversation. This is I do A and I receive B. I put in X and I get out Y. That's all alcohol is. It's input and output. The more alcohol you input, the less your body comp will improve. The more fat you will gain. The slower you will be able to lose fat, or you will go backwards. Okay? The less alcohol you consume, the faster your fat loss will be. The more you will see changes in your body composition. Okay, so just to review, the 3 super common myths about alcohol are just drink drinks that are low sugar, because we know that that's false now. 2, the second myth is that you can cancel out your alcohol use by skipping meals or eating less or working out more. And the third myth is that you need to be completely dry in order to get results. You need to be like prohibition style, 0 alcohol to see results. And we know those things aren't true. What you actually need is a system and a process called alcohol accounting to understand and correctly account for alcohol in your intake. Okay, I really hope that this helped you. If you have any questions, please just direct message me on Instagram and I'm happy to chat more with you about it. And if you feel like you're ready to make a change or you just want to learn more about my process, then drop your name and email at the link in my Instagram bio. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to y'all soon.